Hi folks, in our last video we looked at how we can connect network with a router, a switch, and also some end devices. In the next video, we're going to look at how we can set up a wireless router, then connect some end devices to it. Basically, if you work as a network guy or a systems administrator in a company, some of your role or major part of your role is to configure routers. It can be a wireless router or a router without wireless. In the previous section, something with a router, without wireless. Say if we have a wireless router as our edge device, how are we going to set up the wireless to connect to end devices? Okay, quickly let's get onto the screen. To Cisco Packet Tracer network simulator, and whatever that you do on the simulator, the same thing physically you can do, because the configuration be or simulator the same thing and on the physical devices you do. If you understand it from here, it's applicable to the physical devices. Tienko Packet Tracer na yenye settings. Okay, into a simulation tool which is Packet Tracer from Cisco. We are going to simulate the network here. First of all, we will need the devices that we're gonna use. Obeba network devices, now I call wireless. Then I'll choose this type. So these are different types of wireless, but I'll choose this one and put it here. That's the WRT300N. Now my end device. So wireless way you bet me configure in two ways. Router na you need the default IP address of the router. Then you get a PC with LAN port into me pick this PC. Then I'll also add my laptops. Then before that, you need to document your network. Let me quickly do that here. Router let me see. Then we have PC 2. Then we have laptop 3, so I'll make it L3. Then we have laptop 4, I'll make it L4. Then we document. But before that, let's look at the settings in the router and the default IP address a wireless router. Two clickers to open like this. Then you go to the physical. You go to configurations. Then you come to LAN. The default IP address of the router. Every router you see the default IP under it, whether it's from Vodafone, MTN, or you buy it on the market. There is always a default IP. And nona ubetimi call the interface of the router to configure it before you can use it in your network. Until you note it down, it's 192.168.0.1. So .0.1 means it's on the 0 network. This you can change this to any private address that you want. When you join the class, you understand what private and public address is. Then there's the subnet mask. Okay, until now that we know, let me quickly put it here. So there's the IP address of the router. and this is the subnet mask 255.255.0. So mostly the subnet mask determines the number of computers or devices that can be connected on the network. So this 255.255.255.0 means we can connect 255 or 254 endpoints or end devices to the router. Okay. Then if we want to add more, we can reduce it. 255.255.254 will allow us to add more than 254 or 255 devices. All these will be taught in the class. So when you join the class, we will learn all these. Then PC2, I want to give it 192.168.0. That's the zero network .2. So I'll give it an IP address of .2. Then after we configure it, we will let DHCP distribute IP address to the laptops, to the two laptops. Why we are giving the PC a static IP is that we want to be able to connect to the wireless router through the PC so that we can configure it. Okay, but because this is a simulation tool, even though you can just click on it and go to the graphic user interface, that's the GUI, but when you come here, you still have access to this interface to configure. But on a production router, you will need a device you need a computer to connect it. Let's look at it from that angle. Let's assume say it's a production router, it's a physical router that we are working with. Let's do it that way. So I will need a cable to connect the wireless router and the PC. So I'll click on the cables, then I'll choose copper straight through cable. So I'll click on the router, then I connect to the Ethernet port. So this router has a one port, which is the internet, and also 4 LAN ports. So the one port is where the ISP will connect their cable to your premises. So assuming we are getting internet from MTN or Telecel, they will connect their internet cable to the internet port. Then we will use the LAN or Ethernet ports 1 to 4 to do our local area connections. So if you want to connect a switch, you connect it here to any of the Ethernet ports. So we have Ethernet ports and internet port, or sometimes they write 1. So when you see 1, it's the same as internet. Internet. So that receives internet from an ISP. So I'll connect to Ethernet port 1, then connect to the the computer's fast Ethernet port 02. Then you wait for this light to turn to orange. But before it can turn to orange, we have to configure a static router for the PC. So you click on it. So if it's a normal PC, you come to the desktop, you go to network, where the network configuration. So assuming I'm using my computer, you come here, you right click on the network or wireless port, you go to network and interfaces. Then I think this is Windows 11. So Windows 11, depending on whether you are connected to a wireless or this thing or a cable. So you go to, let me see, every Windows has a way of connecting. So let me see, with Windows 11, I think it's somewhere. You go to Get, then you can go to this thing. It always misses me, but there is a way of getting it. Windows 11 is a bit rough when it comes to Yeah, okay, so you see, this is what I'm looking for. But other versions of Windows, when you right click on the either the the small computer that shows at the network side, that's here, or the wireless device, you see this advanced network. So when you click on advanced network, then you come to if it's Wi-Fi. So you click on it, then you go to more adapter options, then edit. So this will give you the properties. This is what I'm looking for. So on assuming we are doing it on a physical machine, then you come to IPv4, then properties, then you set your static IP here. Okay, so we will talk more about it in the class. So let's go back to the simulator. So with the simulator, you can just come to IP configuration, then you choose static. By default is here. So static, then you see it as, I think when I chose DHCP, it gave it a DHCP address because this wireless is already configured for DHCP. But I want to give it a static IP, so I'll just do static to 192.168.0.2. Now, if I have 255.255. Since we are not routing outside our LAN, we can leave the gateway address. Gateway address now is the same as the IP of the router. And also now, local area devices never acco outside your or to communicate with the one or the internet. Okay. In the class, we'll talk more about it. Till now that we have the connection, you see said the lights are turning green until I can, let's see, let me try to ping the IP address of the router to see if it's working or if there is communication. Yeah, so reply from 192.168.0.1, meaning that computer no PC2 and router no is able to communicate. Until now I can go to the browser. Into the emphasis and physical devices now connect configure your PC and the router to communicate. And now we are going to open the interface of the router through the computer. Into the computer no browser be also. Then you type the IP address of the router 0. Let's say 1. And mostly the default login details will be under the router, but here I didn't check, so let me try admin to see if it will work. Yeah, it worked. So that mostly the default administrative password to enter the interface of a router using a computer is admin. Some too is root, then with some password. Till all this information can be seen under the router, there is a sticker there. Also. Until now, you see, say be the router interface on the computer. The same thing because we a simulator and say mimia router and so na meba the graphic user interface of the router. We can still get it there. Yeah, when you come to the GUI, it's the same thing. But as I said, if it's a physical device, you can't just open it on the router itself. You need an end device to do that. So let's go by that way. Into the default address is set already. So there's the address, there's the subnet mask. Then DHCP server is enabled. DHCP simply means you've set this router to distribute IP addresses automatically. And yet administrator nebema computer via IP address when it's connected to the network. But so you just disable it. Then you can also reserve IPs on person router be distributed. For example, maybe in a production you want to reserve IPs for printers, for maybe managed switches, for maybe APs or other devices that you think that you want them to always have one static IP address, you can reserve them so that this router will not distribute those IPs. And if you look at the settings, it says the IP distribution should start from 100. Then maximum is 50 users, so it's from 100 to 149. You can change this. You can even start from 2, because the 0.1 is reserved for the router. So you can start from 2. It's editable, so you can change it from 2. Or since you are connecting machine with Yama the PC 2, no, maybe we can start from 3. 2. So it will give from 3 to 1 to 255. But because they are set 15, that means it will give from 3 up to 53. That's 50 plus 3. But we can just do maybe 100. So 100 means it will give from 3 to 103. But today, let's use the default now. We are starting from 100. Every machine that connects will get IP from 100 in the range of 100 to 149. That's okay. In today is fine. Then if we want a static DNS, we can set that, but we will not do that for now. Then we just save the configuration. So it says what? Settings are successful. Continue. So now we have to set the wireless name, the SSID, so that when people connect. So I'll come to wireless. Then it's in a mixed mode. Mixed mode means we have different types of wireless. We have wireless G only, B only, N only, BG mixed. All these are different wireless standards. But mixed means any device that has any of these wireless standards can connect. So I'll leave it at mixed. Then I'll give it an SSID of my Wi-Fi. So this is where your SSID will show. And the channel, I'll leave it at auto, so that the router will look for its own channel or the best channel. Actually, channel, no, if you have a lot of routers in an area which is closer to each other, you can set channels so that your router will always broadcast on that channel. We will learn more in the class, so let's leave it as it is now, but I'll set it to automatic. Then the standard channel is 1 to 2.412 gigahertz. Then the SSID, we want it to broadcast, so I will enable it. If you disable it, it's not going to broadcast. Okay, so this is fine. Then we go to wireless security. So this is where we will choose the security that we want. So we have different types of security. I'll choose the WPA2 personal. If you want to understand each of them when you join the class, I will explain each of them. Then we give it a passphrase. So I will give it test, capital T, at 1 2 3 4 5. So anybody who want to connect to the Wi-Fi, will need this password. Till when you are done, you save it. Then there are other settings that you can do. We have guest network, wireless MAC filter, advanced wireless settings. So all these are security features that you can set on your network. Until when you join the class, we'll teach all these things, or maybe in a later video we can teach that. So we have security settings as well, where you use firewalls to filter to create security on your network. Then we have access restrictions. Here too, you can set policies to control access, which we'll talk about in the class. So in the class, we'll go through all the settings one by one. But for this video, I'll just do the basic setup and the wireless setup. So now our router is set up. So we can, I think I saved it. So we can close it now. The setup is done. So once the setup is done, you can now connect your laptops or your devices that are wireless enabled, your phones, laptops, to the router. So you go into the router, but by default in this simulator, the laptop has LAN ports or NIC cards. So we need to remove it and put a wireless card there. So I'll switch it off here. Let me zoom in. I'll switch it off here. Then I'll remove this. So this is the LAN port. Then I choose. So these are the devices that you can choose. So we have the WPC300N. This is it. Then we have different devices that you can connect to. You can connect headphones, microphones, and all that. So I'll just connect. I'll click on this to get the wireless, external wireless receiver. Then I connect it here and put it on and close it. Then I go to configuration, desktop. Then this is PC wireless. I click on it. Then you see this. So it's just like you connecting your physical device, either cell phone and our laptop, to a network. I won't say you get something like this. Then you go to connect. To connect, the SSID will show here. The SSID, I think we gave it a name. Why is it telling us default? Quickly, let me check. So I'll click on the router again, because I believe we gave it a name. I go to wireless. Okay, I think the name. So my Wi-Fi, remember I gave it the name my Wi-Fi. Or I didn't save. Let me save it. Okay, then let me see the security. Okay, security, everything is fine. Close. I go to the wireless again and try to search for it. Okay, so now it's broadcasting my Wi-Fi. So I'll just click connect. Then it will ask for the pass key. So I just copied it. Test at 1 2 3 4 5. Then I click connect. Just like you connecting, to your network, to any Wi-Fi network. So you see the connection is established. So let's see if it will give it a DHCP. Yeah. So you see it has given it an IP address 0.100. So let's connect the second one. So I'll switch it off, remove the NIC card, then put in the Wi-Fi card, switch it back on, go to desktop, Wi-Fi to search for available SSIDs. So wait for this to show here. You click on connect, you provide the password, then connect again. So let's see if there is a connect. Yeah, let's check if it has given it an IP address. So you see it gave it 101. So DHCP is distributing the IPs. I want to ping the laptop to see, no, the router to see. So ping 192.168.0.1. Yeah, there is a response. Then I also want to ping 100. I want to see if there is communication between the two computers. Yes, there is. So now we've set up a wireless network in our premises. Until if you have other machines, you can just introduce a switch into your network. So let's say I put the switch here. Then I choose a cable to connect the switch to the Wi-Fi. Then I can even remove this machine and connect it via the switch. Yeah, like this. Then if I have more devices, maybe I can add more computers. You can just connect them to the switch. This cable. Then let me double click on this and choose DHCP, so that it gets IP address automatically from the router. Yeah, so you see, no, it has not gotten the correct IP address. So let me go to static again, then DHCP 169. This is not a correct IP address. Mostly when your machine is not able to get IP address from your router, this is what you see. So whenever you see this, it means the DHCP communication failed. So in the class, we will learn about how DHCP works. Still not connected. Let me see. Okay, let me just, no, let's still use the DHCP method. So the computer is requesting a DHCP address from, still failed. Wait, I'm coming. Let me check this and see. So desktop, this was set to static, so this is fine. You know, sometimes it takes time for machines, because the DHCP kind of distribution is a form of communication, so it takes time. It takes time to get that. Let me see, maybe it's no. So you just have to keep trying till DHCP is working. Let me see if I can fast track it. So I'll do ipconfig / renew. ipconfig / is it this? Renew. No. Why this doesn't accept? Okay, maybe this doesn't accept. So renew and release will renew DHCP, and also release will release it and try to create the connection again. So we have to keep trying till, we get a correct DHCP. Let me see. There should be, because since all the cables are green. Okay, wait, maybe the cable that I used, let me delete this. Sometimes too, if you don't use the right cable, so I'll use this, connect to this and this, and wait for this to turn green. Okay, it's still giving us this default IP. Yeah, so I'm just waiting for it to turn green so that we see. Let's go again. Wow, what's wrong? Okay, wait, let me just change this cable. So I'll use this, connect to this one, then connect it to this. So I used maybe it was using a copper crossover, so I want to use a copper straight through cable. But as for our laptops, they've received, the correct IP addresses. It's left with this PC2, we gave it a static IP address. So it's left with this PC to get an IP address, and we are trying to use a static kind of, yeah, so now it's working. So maybe the problem was with the cables. Yeah, so now we've created a simple LAN and all the devices can communicate. Let's try to ping 192.168.0.101. One of the laptops, yeah, is receiving reply, so that means there is communication. Then I'll ping the other laptop, there is communication. So now all these devices are on the same network and they can communicate. So okay, so we are done with our setup, and now there is communication between all the devices. So this is just a basic LAN setup. So if you're able to simulate it here, you can do same on your network. Okay, so thanks for watching.